Good morning, everybody. First of all, before I introduce myself, introduce what we have for today as our fourth community talk. This event will be recorded. So if nobody actually it started to be recorded, if anybody has anything against it, please just say it on the chat. If not, we will proceed with that. It's also for the sake of taking minutes and also having it recorded as a backup. So my name is Claudia Oliveira, and I'm a program manager at the unit of Interoperability and Digital Government at DigiDigit. And amongst many other files, I'm also responsible for the Interoperable Europe Community, which is a very exciting project. This is a series of events that we are organizing, and this is our fourth talk. And today we will talk about Interoperability Architecture Solutions, specifically EIRA, eGovERA, and CAMSS. Our first community talk was about solutions in general. The second one was about the agenda, and yes, and the third one was about the assessments, or the other way around. But the talks were about these topics specifically. I think we can go to the next slide, please. So just to go over the house rules very quickly, we will have a Slido link that will be provided to you to ask to ask your questions, to ask you questions, and for you to provide us with some of your answers. This is something that we always like to have during our events. Be very proactive and participate actively during the session. Also, you can also write in the chat if you are shy. And also, please keep your camera and mic off during the presentation to avoid any kind of the transgression, any kind of conflict with what we're doing with the presentation. We can go to the next slide, please. So here is the QR code for our Slido. Join us there. If you have any difficulties joining us with the QR code, please let us know. Otherwise, here it is. And I think we have first. Okay, thank you, Rosario. So we have in the chat an alternative way of joining us at Slido. And I think we have a first question for you. And the question is if you are a member of the community. No? I'll go to the agenda after we ask this question, if you don't mind. Thank you. Are we only people from our unit today? No, I see more people. Because 100% is kind of too good to be true kind of answer. But okay, it's not yet. Okay. A bit more balanced. A bit more balanced. In any case, good to see that we are that you are interested in being in our community and also in being a current member of it. Shows it exactly like that, and it is very important to become one. And I think today we will show you exactly what are the benefits of it. We can go back to slides now, just to go for you to go through the agenda. Thank you very much. Sorry to make you go back and forth, but so for today, what we have is the following. First of all, we'll have a very short introduction, so it will be me. You'll have to still bear with me for a few more minutes. So exactly what is the Interoperable Europe Community and what you can take away with being a member of it, what are the benefits. Right after, we'll have a presentation on the Interoperability Architecture Solutions portfolio. Then we'll deep dive into EIRA and the eGovERA. We'll have a time for Q&A. I'll be there again. Then we'll have a presentation on the CAMSS, so that perhaps you are aware of it. This common assessment method for standards and specifications. We'll then have Q&A again. And then we'll have a part regarding the materials, the training materials that are accessible and available for interoperability architecture. And we will finalize like that. So what is the Interoperable Europe Community exactly? So what I can say, not to make you also too much, I mean, you will have the slides in any case, but this idea, so first of all, we have an act, so we have a regulation, and in this act, we have an article that talks about the Interoperable Europe Community, and we had to launch this community. The Interoperable Europe Community is your space in which you can connect, you can share, you can contribute, and you can contribute to what? To this development of seamless digital public services across borders. So this is the main mission of the Interoperable Europe Community. You can see here the different communities that are already part of the Interoperable Europe Community. So it's a community of communities. You can see some of them here already that you are probably aware of. The OZOR, Digital Ready Policy Making, PM Square, Public Sector Tech Watch. And so you see that this is a community that tries to actually really put together all these different expertise. And of course, we also have the community on the Interoperability Architecture Solutions, which is something that we will go into more deeply today. We can go to the next slide. So as I told you, so this comes from the Act, and it's actually specifically Article 16 that foresees the interoperability community and gives exactly what is the mission of the community. So what are the main activities that are expected from the Interoperable Europe community? So the main activities, let's say the 6 key points, are the following. First one is supporting the board. So upon request of the board, the community shall provide expertise and advice. And this is one of the, I would say, carrots to become a member of the community, since you could be part of the decision-making process at some point, since the Interoperability Board, as the main body of the governance of the Act, is the body that approves and adopts our initiatives. Then, sorry, I'm not even following. I'm just speaking. I'm not following the slides. Then you have, so the main activities, you have how to become a community member. In that case, you can go, I always say the same, because I think it's always important to keep in mind that we have an Interoperable Europe portal. In the Interoperable Europe portal, you have everything related to what our unit is doing and to also what the Act is doing, since we are responsible for the implementation of the Act. And there you can see how you can become a community member. So here, who can become? It's any stakeholder, public or private, as well as civil society organizations and also academia that resides or have their registered office in a member state. So this is very, very important. So as you see, it's not a detail. And so it's these people that can actually register through the portal as members of the Interoperable Europe community. Then you have the status of membership. So after confirmation of your registration, membership status shall be made public on the Interoperable Europe portal. And this is not limited in time, but it may, however, be revoked by the board at any time for justified reasons. I mean, these again, it depends. Of course, usually it doesn't happen, obviously, but it would be the case if there's some kind of abusive behavior of a member of the community. Then regarding the membership benefits, so the members of, as I said, the members of the Interoperable Europe community may be requested to provide expertise to the Interoperable Europe Board, but also contribute to the content of the Interoperable Europe portal, also provide expertise with regards to the development of interoperability solutions is a very important part, participate in the working groups and other kinds of activities, participate also in the support measures provided in different articles. We don't have to specify here, but from articles 9 to 14, we can perhaps talk about it if needed afterwards, but I think today we should focus on something else, as well as promote the use of interoperability standards and frameworks. And finally, we have the two, I would say, big parts of what being part of the interoperability community means. So we have an annual online assembly. So the board organizes this annual online assembly, usually end of the year or fourth quarter of the year, October, November, around this time. And here we talk, usually all the community members are put together and some specific topics are discussed. It's always a very good moment to get to know each other better, to exchange and to be, to understand and to make a kind of a tracking point of what is being done and what we would like to see to be done in the future. And finally, the board adopted already the Code of Conduct for the Interoperable Europe community. And this Code of Conduct is already published on the Interoperable Europe portal. You can access it if you go to the portal. Very good. Next slide, please. So I think here, yeah, I mean, we should still say some of the things. We have been through some of the things of how you can contribute. So, but there is some things that I haven't actually said, and they are very important. Part of this strategic, let's say, view for the boards, we have the Interoperable Europe Agenda. And the Interoperable Europe Agenda sets the pace, and it's this strategic document that basically explains and to the board also, and what are the needs of member states. And here in through the Have Your Say that is also published in the portal, the community members can have their say and can actually contribute to the agenda. So it's a very important part of our work. Also through peer review. So this is a voluntary mechanism to be established for the purpose of, of course, making cooperation between different public sectors, sector bodies more easier, not more easier, just easier. And in that case, these peer reviews are also good mutual learning exercises, so good exchanges between different, let's say, mentors, mentees, or some kind of exchange, let's say, to put it in a very simple way. Then there are also discussions. So for all members to create and shape relevant discussions on topics of interest, like, for example, the one that we are going to discuss today. And finally, we have these events. So we don't have only, as I talked to you about, and I mentioned the annual assembly. Of course, this is the main event of the Interoperable Europe community, but we are also having this series of events, and this is the fourth talk regarding the community. Next slide, please. And here you go. I will finally give the floor to my colleagues. We have today, we are very lucky because we have exactly the people that are the experts on the topics that we are going to discuss today. We have my colleague Katalin Moroiu, is an expert in everything related to solutions and to digital enablers in our unit. Here specifically, he represents is the portfolio manager for architecture solutions in interoperability. We also have Natalia Sanzioege, who works at Entity Data. She's a consultant manager for digital strategy and advice in generally. And we also have Hector Lorenzo, so he's a senior public sector consultant also at Entity Data. And I now give the floor to Katalin or to the team. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Good morning, everyone. As Claudia said, okay, I'm the portfolio manager for Interoperability Architecture Solutions in Digit. And My portfolio includes tools like reference architectures focused on interoperability, tools for standards and specifications, but also for conformance testing. Today, we are going to present some of these tools to you. Okay, I would like also to thank you, the Interoperable Europe members, community members, for joining us today. Also to thank the community team for inviting us to present the work, which is very important. The tools which will be presented to you today are used in different projects for several years already, but we always appreciate suggestions or comments regarding them. So the tools are designed to help the community members, to help the public administrations in across European Union in their challenges with the interoperability. So I do encourage you to use the channels that will be presented at the end of each presentation to stay in touch with us. So don't hesitate to contact us if you have questions or if you have suggestions for new features. For today, Natalia and Hector will take you through the technical details or more general presentation of the tools. I hope you will enjoy the presentation. Thank you very much again for joining today. Natalia, please, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. So as Kathleen and Claudia presented at the beginning, although the European Commission has a big portfolio of solutions, today we'll just focus on three: EIRA, eGovERA, and CAMSS. So if we can go to the next slide, we have on the slide a question for you, because we would like specifically which of these tools you have already used or you know about, and to know a bit your awareness, so we can as well adapt a bit the presentation that we will do afterwards. So please just let us know if you have already used EIRA, eGovERA, CAMSS, or if none of the above, please. Okay. Perfect. Someone that knows EIRA, but the majority for now have not heard about these solutions. That's good as well, because we thank you for being here to know about them. We actually are starting from scratch, providing the baseline information on this tool. So if you do not know about them, it's totally fine. Okay, so we have seen that some of you know EIRA, not the other tools, and the majority of you do not know about the others. Maybe we can proceed already, so we can explain a bit what are these solutions. So let's start first from the beginning. So let's introduce a bit what interoperability means, because probably it's a term on trend at the moment, but some of you may not understand what it means. So we wanted to make sure that everyone had the same understanding. When we talk about interoperability, we refer to the ability of the different systems to exchange and make use of information effectively. This is extremely important when we're talking about digital public services, because the public administrations and other like private sector companies that are providing these digital public services to their main users or target audiences have to build those systems at the back of this digital public service that need to be able to exchange information between them, so the provision of these services are as smooth as possible and the users have a good experience. So in that sense, we see interoperability as a cornerstone of the EU public sector digitalization, and it's where the Commission has focused on under these initiatives that we've been talking about. So in a glance, let's say you have here mapped three of the main things that we want you to know. So first of all, there's the Interoperable Europe initiative, that it's the whole, let's say, initiative that includes a lot of different projects and different things that aims to provide this cross-border cooperation and ensure that there's this free flow of information across the different countries within the Union. Also, as part of the initiative, we have the European Interoperability Framework. Maybe you have already heard about it, but it's, let's say, a framework that provides the different recommendations and guidelines on how you can, as a public administration, design those interoperable digital public service. We will see it more in detail later on. And finally, we have the Interoperable Europe Act that was actually launched in 2025. And it establishes a new cooperation framework to ensure that the delivery of the digital public services across border is as smooth as possible, as we were mentioning at the beginning. Now that we have a clear view on this, maybe we can move ahead. Here in the next slide, you will have a visual on what happens if there's interoperability and what happens if we don't have interoperability. The idea that we want you to take, let's say, is that interoperability can only happen if you are considering different elements at different levels. Which levels? So at legal levels, so which are the main public policies, legal acts that you should consider, not only at EU level, but also at national level. Also the organizational area, so that is the main governance model and delivery model of the digital public service. And as well, we have the semantic and technical parts. No? So for the semantic parts, we are seeing on the data that needs to be exchanged, how this data is represented, how it's understood between the different systems. And finally, at technical level, it's purely the main application and infrastructure that you are including to deliver those digital public services. So in order for digital public service to be interoperable, you need to consider all these layers. I'm not the one who is saying so. It's the European Interoperability Framework with its recommendations and different layers that is sharing this. So when in this digital public service are built, taking into consideration these elements, there is a smooth exchange of information between the different systems behind those. And if not, what may happen is that the users or the target audiences are not seeing the back office, let's say, or the digital public service as an integrated environment, but that they need to provide the information, the same information for different services. So that means that this information is not being exchanged in the background. And of course, this is burdensome for the target audiences, and the public administration's goal in digitalization is to, let's say, make this service for the user more like for it to be more user friendly and not as burdensome as before. I mean, I think we can proceed now. Here in the next slide, you will see a bit a map on how public administration should build the services. So here, let's say that when you're thinking of a digital public service that you want to implement, you are considering, of course, the user's input, but also defining the requirements and then taking the architecture decisions that you need to take in order to implement this digital public service. Considering these initiatives that we were mentioning before, no, the Interoperable Europe and also the European Interoperability Framework. And with this, you are able to build a digital public service that is compliant with all the interoperability recommendations and that is able, let's say, to exchange data with other services. And in order to achieve this, the Commission has developed some of the solutions, as we were mentioning before, that would help you in this. Specifically, here we are talking about EIRA and eGovERA mainly, okay, that we will see in detail. If we can proceed to the next slide, I just wanted to share with you an idea of what you can expect in the European Interoperability Framework. It's published in the Interoperable Europe portal, and I really encourage you to go there and check it because it provides, let's say, 12 principles that are the high-level requirements that you should consider when building digital public services. It was also the one that was defining those layers that I talked about, so the legal, organizational, semantic, and technical interoperability. And also it provides a conceptual model that supports you in the delivery of the digital public service. So all this information is publicly available. Of course, it's not compulsory because they are only recommendations, but it's highly encouraged for you to use it to make sure that you are building the digital public service in an interoperable manner from scratch. Considering this, I want now to introduce a bit the different solutions that we have in the solutions portfolio of the Commission. If we can go to the next slide. So, as mentioned before, there's different solutions. You can check them all in the Interoperable Europe portal, but today we'll focus on those three. as I introduced, so EIRA and eGovERA mostly focus on how to analyze and design a digital public service. And then we have CAMSS, which is a common assessment method for standards and specifications that, as the name mentioned, is providing the standards and specifications that would help you in building the interoperable digital public service. Okay, so we'll first talk about EIRA and eGovERA, and then we'll later go to CAMSS. Okay, you will see that EIRA and eGovERA are mostly presented together because eGovERA is based on EIRA. Okay, I'll explain the main difference between the two tools afterwards. And in the next slide, we can see that these tools have already a wide adoption through Europe. Here, it's not only the Commission that is using those solutions to build their digital public services, but also different public administrations at different levels. So we have administrations at EU level and also within different countries at national, regional, and local level that are already using these solutions. That means that they can adapt and can be as scalable as you want, and can be used to define any type of digital public service at any level, if it's only for your country or even cross-border, okay? Okay, so now that I have a bit introduced the context from where the solutions were built, maybe we can already start explaining EIRA and eGovERA. So if we can proceed, please. As mentioned, EIRA and eGovERA are quite related. I'll start first explaining EIRA, and then I'll go with eGovERA. I know that some of you have already mentioned that you know what EIRA is, but for the ones that you don't know anything about it, I'll just mention that EIRA is understood as a reference architecture. What does that mean? That it is, well, an architecture or a quality assurance checklist that you can consider to build your digital public service. So if you take EIRA to build your digital public service, you will see that you are being compliant with all those things that we have mentioned before, with Interoperable Europe Act, with the European Interoperability Framework, with the Interoperable Europe Initiative, because EIRA is based on all of those and consolidates, let's say, all the information that you need to consider to build your digital public service, okay? So it includes, let's say, the different main elements at the 4 levels that we have mentioned. So in the legal layer, organizational, semantic, and technical, in alignment with the EIF. And it tells you for each of those views or layers, specifically which elements you need to consider to build your digital public service. So in that sense, you should only like take EIRA and start from there, and adding your details or your national context to what EIRA already provides. But using EIRA, you are sure that you're considering everything, because as I was mentioning, it's a checklist that makes you not forget anything to build a digital public service. So maybe we can proceed, because in the next slide we will see what eGovERA is. So I mentioned at the beginning that EIRA and eGovERA are quite related. Let me explain how. As mentioned, no, EIRA is a reference architecture. It tells you specifically what you need to consider to build a digital public service. And what is eGovERA for then? eGovERA is based on EIRA. That means that includes all the elements that are already included in EIRA, but adds more detail. Catalogs of the different elements that EIRA includes. For example, EIRA in the legal layer mentions that you need to consider the specific legal instruments applicable to the digital public service. This is what EIRA says. And what does eGovERA say? That those legal instruments, they told you, let's say, the catalog of the legal instruments that you need to consider. So EIRA says you need to consider the legal landscape. And then eGovERA provides you a catalog of all the legal instruments that there's in Europe that may be applicable to the digital public service. So what you only need to do is to select from the catalog the ones that would be applicable to you or not. For example, eGovERA is saying, consider the AI Act, but if your digital public service is not including AI, you do not need to consider that legal instrument. This is just an example, but it provides those type of catalogs for a lot of different elements, okay? And this is the part that you can see here on the foundation solution components. These are the eGovERA reference architectures. And as eGovERA provides a lot of detail versus EIRA, the team has created different eGovERAs, okay? We have an eGovERA that is business agnostic, so that it can be used for any type of domain or sector in which you are in. And then we have domain-specific reference architectures. In that sense, the team has worked on a specific eGovERA on taxation, and a specific eGovERA on customs, and another one in health. That means that additionally to the content included in the business agnostic one, you have content specific to those domains. Okay, so it's really targeted to your digital public service. And apart from those reference architectures, eGovERA already has another component that's called the upscale solution component that I will talk later on more about. Okay, but the idea here that you should consider is that eGovERA adds more detail versus EIRA, and that you have eGovERA of different domains. And if you are not developing any digital public service in the domains of taxation, customs, or health, you can take the business agnostic one. So let's proceed to the next slide. Here is just a recap on the main use cases of both EIRA and eGovERA. So I think I have already mentioned, but you can use EIRA and eGovERA first to analyze the requirements of a digital public service. Not only analyzing them, but also documenting them, because you can document them there. And once you have completed this part, you can also use EIRA and eGovERA to design the solution of the digital public service, so to design the system behind. Okay, so it supports you in these two things. And then after this, you should only go and implement the design that you have built with EIRA and eGovERA. And if we can proceed, here we're just providing an example of a digital public service that has used EIRA and eGovERA at even local level, let's say, not at national level, but even local level, for you to see that the models can be applied to any type of digital public service. In that case, we are talking about Madrid, who is implementing smart urban spaces, so are like small smart cities, let's say, and they have these IoT sensors to get some data, and they wanted to share the data with the different parties involved through a data space. So they used EIRA and eGovERA to analyze first the requirements, and then to design the data space that was able to exchange all the data gathered through these sensors. For you to see that the different, let's say, types of digital public services that can be built with EIRA and eGovERA, it's super wide, and it can support in any type of service and system. I think we can already proceed for this. For now, we have just focused, let's say, on the part on the reference architectures, but as I mentioned previously, there's another part on eGovERA, which is eGovERA Upscale, if you wanna check it out. I will be super quick in this. You have the link in the slides, but basically what eGovERA Upscale does is support you in the prioritization of the main capabilities that the digital public service should have. The capabilities are one of the main elements of EIRA and eGovERA, and what eGovERA Upscale does is supports you in defining them, and then prioritizing them, and establish a roadmap to see how you can achieve those capabilities in your system. It's done through a questionnaire. It's quite visual, so I really encourage you to check it out if you want to define the capabilities of a specific service that you are building. After introducing eGovERA, I have just only one thing remaining to present in the next slide, which is Cartool. It's not let's say a new solution. It's just the modeling tool that you need to use if you want to work with EIRA and eGovERA. Okay, So here, just to mention that it's a free plugin in the tool Archi, which is a modeling tool quite used in Europe. So what the team has done is to develop a plugin so you can install, like the architects can install in Archi, so you can start modeling with EIRA and eGovERA. And what you will have in your car tool once you install it is all the models of EIRA and eGovERA, so the business agnostic and the specific ones, and it will support you in building your specific model for your service, taking EIRA and eGovERA as a reference, okay? You will also receive the links, but just the idea that I want you to take from that is that if you want to use EIRA and eGovERA, you need the car tool to play with them and to model your digital public service. And that was a bit what I wanted to present regarding the EIRA and eGovERA. In the next slide, as mentioned at the beginning, what you have is a bit of recap of where you can find all this information in the Interoperable Europe portal. As mentioned, there's a community. Also, you have all the information on the solutions there. You have even success story and testimonials of real use cases where EIRA and eGovERA has been applied. For example, the case of Madrid that I was explaining. And also you have different courses on EIRA and eGovERA if you want to learn more about them, that I will also explain at the end. And finally, you have here an email, that's Digiteira email, that is a functional mailbox that we are using in case you have any doubt, in case you are not finding any type of information. Just please contact us through this email so we can support you in this. That was mainly it. I think we have next question, Slido, for you.
Yes, we do.
Perfect. To see if you have understood well in which cases you can use EIRA and eGovERA. This is the real exam. So exactly. So what we want you to select is what do you think that, well, which one of those use cases could be one of EIRA and eGovERA. If you want to analyze the requirements of an interoperable solution, if you want to design the solution, or if you want to choose any e-government solutions and standards, or if you want to align solutions with the framework and the act, or all of the above. You have here a lot of possibilities. Maybe I'll wait a couple of seconds for you to input your responses.
Sorry, on my slide it says that voting is closed.
Okay, no problem. We could just have perhaps it's even more interactive this way, right, Natalia? We can just have a conversation, a vivid conversation about this. What in this case, for example, in this quiz, after this very interesting presentation and detailed presentation from Natalia, which would you feel would be a good use case for EIRA or eGovERA? Would you like to say something about it? I mean, I'm not going to pinpoint anybody nor colleagues of the team, because that would be super easy. But somebody, any person that would like to jump in and say something about it. I mean, because this, in the sense that exactly the way that like Natalia was presenting, and also the differences between the two, this makes it more and more interesting. Also regarding a target for a possible interoperable solution, right?
Indeed.
Would anybody would like to say something about this? If not, I will have to pinpoint people from the team, which is not nice at all. But since Livio actually said something about technical problems, Livio, would you like to say something about this presentation, or one comment, a simple one?
Yeah, maybe it's a good choice. Also, I'm a bit of a beginner in this field, so in the end,
Thank you so much for joining.
with the team that are the best. I would say, in my humble opinion, and based on my current knowledge, that basically it's the correct answer here in this instance would be all of the above. But of course, I'll wait for confirmation and explanations from the real experts, let's say.
Yeah.
As I said, based on my own assessment, I would say that the first four answers are all correct. But yeah, let's see if this is the reality or not.
Thank you so much
Yes,
for participating. Natalia, would you like to
yeah, just in
respond?
30 seconds to mention the response maybe for the ones that you did not have it as clear. So I must say this question was quite complex. So let me explain a bit the responses. The main use cases of EIRA and eGovERA, as we have seen, are the first two. So the analysis and design of a digital public service or of a solution. Okay, it's true that since EIRA and eGovERA are based already on the EIF and consider the framework in the architecture, you could use it to make sure that it's aligned with the framework and the act. However, let's say that the third one, it would not be as correct because eGovERA does not include, let's say, government solutions or standards. Actually, the standards part is what will come in CAMSS that we will see right now. But more or less, yes, let's say it was more or less right, I believe you. Thank you so much for participating. And I think that was all. I think, Claudia, we have now a bit of Q&A if someone has any question, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so just a second. So basically, the first two indeed are very clear, maybe together with the last. The third one was a bit of a gray area, and we need to go a bit into, let's say, details to be able to determine if it's a correct answer or not.
But that's, I mean, that's exactly why we're here. So in any case, thank you so much for participating. I think this is the way we can learn with each other. I'm also here learning.
That's the point.
So it's not because I'm hosting that I know more than my colleagues here. That's why we have them here. We invited exactly, and I'm always learning every time I hear a presentation about this. So this is, of course, a very much mutual exercise. So that's what makes it interesting. Again, we have here the QR code. I think we are going to another Slido interaction. If you cannot join through the QR code, please go through the alternative way that Rosario has written down.
It's me, right? Yeah. I think here, hi, Hector speaking. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself. Now we are changing to CAMSS. Okay. I think that we could skip that because I think that in the beginning we already asked about the knowledge and how familiar people is, and I think that it's a good point to start and introduce what is CAMSS and what which solutions we have. Okay. So I think that we can go ahead.
There you go, Hector. So the floor is yours for CAMSS.
Perfect. So, common assessment for standards and specifications. Okay, here this is what stands for CAMSS. Okay, this is the action is meant to be the European guide for assessing, identifying, and justifying the adoption and selection of standards and specifications in e-government projects. Which means from recommending specifications, creating digital public services, and so on. Then the CAMSS solutions that we will see and some others that we are not going to be able to go over them today are covering different interoperability needs, okay, from the vendor login, okay, with different CAMSS scenarios assessments. We support different member states and administrations to identify open solutions, open solutions to implement standards and specifications, also to include them on procurement of ICT. Also interoperability, okay, as you see, the second bullet there is basically interoperability, helping to ensure that administrations can create digital public services that are interoperable across borders. Okay, so here we have solutions like the libraries and assessments that can help to identify which specifications and standards can be implemented, okay, and have a common understanding and agreement on how the services will work. And then also to ensure that the different the different standards and specifications that public administrations select are aligned with the interoperability the European Interoperability Framework, the EIF. We'll go over one of our solutions, that is the EIF scenario. You will see that is basically assessing how these standards and specifications are compliant and aligned with the recommendations and principles that the EIF sets. Okay, I think we can go to the next slide. Yeah, here, so we have an overview of the different solutions that we have. We have three categories. We have categorized as assessment tools. There we have different scenarios and services. We have the EIF, which we'll go more in detail later on, the multi-stakeholder platform scenario, which is basically to support the multi-stakeholder platform on identifying specifications that are aligned and covering the requirements on the standardization regulation. Then we have the CAMSS as a service, which is a service that is free of charge, and the different administrations at different levels can ask for assessments, okay, that they want to include in different decisions, like recommending on frameworks at a national level, on implementing digital public services, so we can support on performing those assessments and having these this scoring, okay? Then the incompatibility, which is basically set to check if an environment or a solution can be compatible with the inclusion of a new specification or standard, and it is set to see the level of not compliance or compatibility. Then we have the core vocabularies, which here I would like to mention that these, together with the SEMIC core vocabularies, have been selected as Interoperable Europe Solutions, meaning that they support and they are in favor of supporting the member states on creating cross-border digital public services. Here we have common assessments vocabulary and also the standard and specification. One is related to describing assessments and the different attributes and aspects that are related to the assessments and making them machine readable. And then we have the standards and specifications that is used to describe standard specifications in a standardized way, making it machine readable and ensuring that it can be retrieved and reusable technically. Okay, and then we have the last part, which is related the libraries, which is we have the principles and the standards library. Okay, first the assessment library, we will go over it, but basically gathers the different assessment that CAMSS performs. Then the LAB, which is a library related to the architecture part that Natalia presented, and it is meant to support the creation of digital public services that follow principles that are aligned with the legal framework at European level, but also technical principles from the inception. And last, the EIRA library of interoperability specifications that will be more in detail later on, which is basically a library where we put all together standards and specification and the requirements that EIRA sets as ABBs. So we help the architects to build and design the digital public services. I think that we can go ahead. Okay, next slide. Here, as Natalia mentioned before, we have as well a set of actors and institutions at European and international level that have been working with CAMSS on assessment related to the assessment or the development of vocabularies. They have been basically adopting in the different solutions that we have at CAMSS level. I think that it is all we can continue. Then benefits. I mean, I introduce what are the needs that CAMSS is covering, but here some benefits that we can see, which is clearly that it's a commission owned solution, so it is available for all member states and different organizations. Then that the solutions that are developed are aligned with the different interoperability frameworks and also the Act. And also we have that this as this is a method that helps, and it is established with the alignment with the EIF, how to answer the question, the supporting materials ensures and helps to do better decision making that is enforced and aligned with the regulation. And then I think that we can jump to the next slide. Sorry, because I'm speeding up. We are a bit tight on time, but yeah. So now I start with some of the solutions that we wanted to show you and present. First, the CAMSS EIF scenario. Okay, this the CAMSS EIF scenario is an online survey-based approach that we propose to use for checking and assessing the compliance of specifications with the the European Interoperability Framework, the EIF. It is very mature now with the current version of the EIF. It will be evolving as the EIF evolves, okay? But for now, what we have is it is based on the two core principles of the EIF. It is structured, and you can answer how the specification is covering them. It has now 45 criteria, okay, that cover all the different core principles. You will see that there's a methodology that goes with the scenario that ensures this common and transparent approach, okay, for how two specifications are doing in compliance or being aligned with the EIF. And this, and on the right side of the screen, you will see that you have the QR to access the survey tool that we have for performing it. And here you see an example of how it looks like. Okay, this is a screenshot of the user centricity principle and some of the questions. You see that there are you can select the different answers and then justify the questions, and then you can get the scoring of the specification against the EIF. I think that we can jump to the next slide, Romina.
Yes, Hector. This was very interesting as a EIF. Let's try to have the CAMSS a good overview, and then we close the training materials I'll mention during my closing. Go ahead, Hector.
Perfect. So for CAMSS as a service, basically this is, as I mentioned, this is a service that is provided by the Commission to the different member states at different levels. So what basically CAMSS is doing is getting the request of assessing a specification following the methodology and the EIF scenario. But we also have the possibility to perform the services in a review mode, in a sense that public administrations on its own perform the assessment, and then CAMSS goes and makes the review to make sure that it is compliant with the methodology, following the best practices on how answering, and so on. You will see, if you want to know more, you can go to our collection, and there is more information on the different options for the services. And I think that it's very interesting for the member states. So we can jump to the next one, which is the assessment library. Okay, this library is in the Interoperable Europe portal under the Common Assessment Method First Answer Specification collection. There, what we do is publish the different standards assessed under the CAMSS, but not only. We also ask for people that for teams that make assessments, and also the reviews that we are doing to publish there. So what we are doing there is fostering the reuse of these solutions, helping to improve the decision making, in a sense that people, I mean, you can see if a standard is compliant or not, the weaknesses, the strengths, without performing the assessment yourself. You can use the work that has been already done by CAMSS or other public administrations. And it is like updated normally monthly, because the CAMSS action is performing assessments on regularly, and we have other assessment published depending on the services that we provide as well. I think that we can go to the next slide, Romina. Here, just we wanted to depict a few examples of services that we've done. Basically, these are exercises that from CEMIC, from the same unit, DGIT-B2, or the Digital Convergence Initiative has asked. For example, CEMIC was working on identifying the some data model for using under the OTS. Basically they asked the CAMSS action to perform some assessment on certain data models to see how they were compliant to the EIF or not, so they can make a selection that is informed and they can justify its use or not. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to go further in detail here because I think that we have the ELIS to explain yet. Yeah. And then the last solution that we wanted to show is the ELIS, okay, which links with what Natalia explained about the architectures. In here, what we have is a library that is called EIRA Library of Interoperability Specifications, ELIS. It is a catalog of standards and specifications that are linked to the different requirements that the building blocks represent. For example, API related requirements, data models or vocabularies, ontologies at semantic level. Okay, so it can be used to create and to analyze and design digital services. Okay, to by identifying requirements and how these requirements can be, let's say, realized by different solutions, in this case standards and specifications, that can help to the smooth and the interoperable implementation of the different services. I think that before closing, now we have the ELIS available in different ways. Okay, we have it is as an Excel distribution. We have it as well in the CAR tool that Natalia mentioned, that it's directly to support the architects on the design analysis and design phases using Archimate. And we are working as well towards making this public available through a web service application. We are on it. At some point it will be available. We cannot, let's say, foresee a date, but these are the different ways where you can access the specifications that are in the ELIS. And I think that's it for CAMSS. I think that now we have the slide on. Please, I mean, I encourage you to join the collection, read all over the information that we have all over, join the different solutions. You will get updates when we publish on anything, when we update the solutions with new distributions.
Thank you, Hector. Thank you, colleagues. We are perfectly on time. We won't actually have time to go through all the training materials that we have available for you. It was a very, I think, detailed and exhaustive presentation on these 3 solutions. Of course, any time that you would like us to give you more or to have more information about it, or to have some kind of, if you have any doubts, specific doubt, you can always contact us directly as well. There are many links that were provided to you in the chat. And I would actually also invite you to go and visit them. Everything is very well explained there. Things seem a bit more complicated than in fact they are. They are actually here to make life easier in a sense. So please go to the portal, and if you have any other questions, you see the functional mailbox here for the community. You can go there, ask your questions, and we will duly respond. Before we close, because it's the really last thing I would like to say is we have, I think, a slide regarding our seasonal school that will happen in June. I'm sorry, but I forgot exactly the dates. I think it is 11 and 12. I'm not absolutely sure. If not, it's 9 and 10. Almost there. So 9th and 10th of June, we have the Interoperable Europe Academy seasonal school, and I really invite you all to be part of it. It's a 2-day online event, and it's dedicated to all practical implementation of the Act. It has many different courses, and the theme for this year is how to develop an interoperable digital public service. Thank you all for your participation, and hope to see you soon in the next community talk. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Take care.